if it's a long post.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to use it. You know, our rule of thumb is usually try to use it 2-3 times, right? And you'll find it challenging in some ways, right? Because you've got your keywords and they don't quite fit in to what you want to say, and sometimes it's a struggle, right? You know, so it's a good challenging thing. And after a while, if you keep those keywords that you're trying to rank for sort of stuck in your bulletin board, you'll get a little bit more comfortable with what people are looking for and understanding that, and get more natural about it. But you know, you don't want to get unnatural with it too much, right? Because it doesn't read anybody. Like at the end of the day, you're trying to write something that people read, right? All you're trying to do is use it in the language that they're searching for, right? So you don't want to get too obnoxious on it.
So you're suggesting for blog posts that you should choose the key, like the gentleman who spoke earlier, use the keyword tool to find the keywords that you want to rank for, and then write around that those words.
Yep.
And then basically use those same words.
Yeah, just to try to find out, you know, I'll show you an example here. Let's do it. Here's another little trick of how to do it. And I saw your question here, so we'll come right back to here, but let me just show you one of how we can do this. It's even simpler than the keyword tool. But, I mean, I'll use the keyword tool all the time when I'm writing a blog post, because again, I look at it as I'm going to write something. So what was the one we did? We were doing one on shoes or something the other day. You know, I was just sort of curious. I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, I know. The client was talking about, I think we were talking about sandals or flip-flops, or she had a shootie. Anybody heard of this? A shootie. And I went, a shootie? What's that? She said, oh, it's a combination, it's a new thing. It's a combination between a shoe and a boot. And I went, oh, okay. Am I going to get found for shootie? You know, so, so I looked at it, you know, and I sort of went, well, boot, okay, you know, and so I knew there was more search volume there, but, so I went down the keyword tool and we sort of shifted it over, right, to talk about boots, but we also put in shootie, right, for fun, right, and so we're using that a bit too, just to check, right? I'm just sort of checking what you talking about. You know, am I sure I'm on the same page as everybody else? But the other fun thing that you can do here is the simple way now with suggested search is, you see what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Now, so everybody see it? I just put in shootie. Okay, so Google recognized the term off the top, right? And look, and then they started saying some other stuff. Shooties and booties. Oh, that's kind of a neat thought. So I'll use this actually for thoughts as well, for the blog post, right? And now I could write, because I just mentioned that boots were good, so maybe I can write shoe, maybe my thing could be called shooties and booties. Or shooty girl, right? You know, or what does that mean, right? You know, or like, and it's really intriguing, right? Because I don't know what the hell those mean, right? You're laughing, you might know what they mean. You know what booty means. But I don't think it's that booty, is it? No. But we can use those for anything, right? And that's a really simple way of doing it. And often we'll find right down at the other bottom of the post, we'll see searches related to shooties. So where are shooties, shooties boots, right? Which I think is the one we did. Crushed, you know, patent shooties. So anything that you're doing on that, you can use this really simple way of just sort of being able to check on. Especially when you end up writing a blog about something like shooties, which you know nothing about. So does that? And you had a question there.
Yeah. I guess I'm trying to figure out the concept. So you have the SEO. Trying to see if that's different from. You know, you talk about the keywords, but what if you have two different subjects? You know, with the intent of generating traffic, but not known for, you know, what you do. For example, you said the billboard blog, which is popular, but it takes you to an SEO site. You know, so you put in keywords. For example, let's say I put a post about Facebook, but I'm not a Facebook company, but I generate posts. So how does that work? Because I'm not known for it, but I'm getting traffic because.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do, if we use that sort of thing of the intent content sort of idea, right? So, and I'll use my example here, right? So I might have, most of mine, it is around internet marketing, right? And in internet marketing, there's a bunch of different phrases in there. There's SEO, right? There's all these different phrases inside of there, which are different little sub-keywords. This is the one I want to rank for. So I can put internet marketing videos, I can put, internet marketing strategies, I can put all sorts of stuff like that, right? But that's not the only one I'm trying to rank for, because I'm also a branding guy, right? And my firm's called Brand Mechanic. So I'm also trying to rank for branding, right? And we also go after social media marketing, and we have 3 to 6 keywords we go after. But so I'm looking at that one, and when I wrote it, it was it's one of those ones I was sort of doing it for fun, right?
Right.
So I'm doing enough of them, I don't have to worry that that I've got enough going on my top subjects that I'm not too worried about that. So I am doing this one, and okay, what the heck, I could do it, not even optimize it, or maybe optimize it for billboards, and what the heck, maybe something happens that way. But what I did, what I think I did on it was I would have looked at it normally and said, okay, billboards, what's that? Is that internet marketing? Is that social media? Or is that branding?
Branding.
Branding. Right? So I can associate it, because somewhere in the world of branding, there's billboards. Right? So I just put them under the categories. I just try to stick them in the best category I have. And if it's not directly related, that's okay. I had fun on it anyway. So.
Sorry, so just to generate traffic, which, is that a good thing? Like, even though if it's not related, like you heard about this, like newsjacking, like the Wall Street Journal article and just making a comment, even though it's not directly related to your business, you generate some content because it's a popular article.
It's okay. It's probably not going to get found in any sort of good business way,
Okay.
right? But we're people too, right? And part of this whole online revolution is for people to get to know us as people, right? So I may put something on about my mustache, right? And it's not going to get me found for anything like that, but it helps people get to know me a bit or something like that. So it helps round it out, because but it's not maybe the most strategic. That's the problem.
Okay, thanks.
Well, these are along here because, like I said, there's lots of different things in here. So we covered off this a bit, which was do you rank, right? And this chart, by the way, is just showing you the number of searches that occur on page 1. So each one of these, so basically 56% of the searches happen on the first position on the page. So by the time you get off page 1, if you're not on page 1, you've missed 85 to 90% of all the searches. So you're far better, even if there's only like, 200 searches on a small term, but you're on page 1, you're better off than that, than being on page 2 or 3 for a phrase that's got 2,000 searches. Right? You just do the math of it. So on this, there are various sites, let's see if I'm hooked up here, where you can actually then go check your rank. And this is kind of important because, okay, do I rank and am I making progress? So this one, let's see if this one's, this one usually works. So I can because here's one of the tough things too, here's one of the funny things that happen. So, one of them is that you talk to people and they go, oh yeah, I rank for Collingwood Financial Planners. Terrific, good news, right? Nobody's searching for that. The other thing is the person goes, I rank for Collingwood Financial Planner. I put it in all the time. Here it is right here. Look, I'll show you. Say, oh, that's great. Now, do you know that you haven't turned off any of your personal preferencing and you're signed into Google, and so because you go there 3 times a day, Google's making that search right at the top because nobody else has seen you rank up here except for you. Right? So Google personalizes your searches, right?
They're spying on me all the time.
They're just trying to help. They're just trying to help. So, so if you're signed in to regular Google, they're seeing that, and you're going to your own site, you're going to artificially appear on the top, right? So many people are thinking they're doing great because they check it every day, and there they are, right? Well, no, you gotta back out, right? You can either disable your history and go back in, or go in on your kid's computer, never goes to your site, check it out there. But this, there's a bunch of these around, and so you can put your domain name in. You can put the keyword that you want to rank for, and then you can even what you want to rank for .com USA. So has anybody developed so far in terms of their keywords? They know what they want? We could try it out if you got a site. Anybody? Everybody's too scared. What if I don't rank and I told them I ranked? So, but that one there is a way to sort of really get at whether you are ranking. So there's other tools like this that are around, so that what we do is we measure. The fun part is you know, especially the CEOs and these guys, they get really into this, right? So, you know, because we track their ranking, you know, sort of week by week. And they go, whoa, we're moving up, right? We're ranked 66, now we're 65th, right? You know, and they get all excited about this. Yeah.
That tool that you're just about to use,
Yeah.
is that commonly available?
Yeah, it's free.
What's it called, please?
That one is
It's
called,
web development. So this will be-
ArizonaWebDevelopment.com.
Thank you.
Google PageRank. And if you just put in PageRanker, you know, PageRank, you'll probably find it within Google. There's a bunch of them around. And so you can check if there's some paid tools. But the amazing thing is, like, you know, we figured, I went over on our basic system and everything, we went over 100 tools that we use now. And only a fraction of them are paid. Like, you know, 10% probably are ones we pay for, and even those we pay for, they're probably $5 a month or something like that. So there's tons of free stuff out there. The other ones I want to sort of go down deep enough here, if this is all making sense, you guys, because I think the philosophy of this and understanding the focus is probably the biggest and most important thing, you know, for anybody. So if somebody's doing your SEO for you, you can ask these questions and that. But I want to cover out sort of the next two biggest ones, and maybe I can whip through. And this is the geeky stuff part, right? So basically, on your page, right, and sort of inside your page, there's about 10 ways you can give Google a clue as to what the heck the page is about, or what the site's about, right? And you don't have to do all of these, but the more you do of them, the more signals you're sending to Google as to what the page is about. So when you're on WordPress and you're doing those tags, that's one. Okay? So there's all these other ones, and it all comes down to sort of thinking about what your keywords are, and then trying to use them everywhere you possibly could, right? Start getting focused, right? So I've internalized it so much, like, you know, when you got a JPEG somebody sent you, right? And you're saving the name of it, right, on your desk. I actually search engine optimize that name of that JPEG, right? I just sort of I got my things in my mind so much now. I just sort of save it that way. Just commonly do it. And that way, actually, when I put them, if I'm going to use them, put them up on my post and all that, the file name has actually got my keywords in there, right? So, I'm changing them all, you know, so I go down to so that's one of them, the picture, your image naming, actually, you know, and the file names you put on there, all these little things are important. One little test you can do is, if we look at this, here's a good example of a URL structure, right? You know, that structure for the page that you see up in the search bar. A good example is fredsredshed.com room-rates. Because if you're Google, right, and somebody's putting in room rates, right, Fred's Red Shed is going to have a lot better chance than if Fred Red Shed, a lot of times you'll find it in alphanumeric gobbledygook. Right? And so the URL is just one of those other 10 ways of being able to tell everybody. So keyword density, somebody mentioned over here, like, right, putting the keywords 2 or 3 times in the post, naming the picture that way, getting it in the title, underlining it, bolding it, these subheads, you know, all these things are important. There's a couple that are under the hood that are more of what you need your web developer to be able to put, right? So we have a web developer here, so you'd know that part right within the code.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of folks who
Excuse me, can you get back to the previous page? I haven't put down the list.
Yeah.
okay,
Right.
great. So you can do this. So there's a couple of folks here. I think we had their sites who were here tonight. So I could look at this page and start to assess it. You know, if I knew the keywords, I could sort of take a look and see whether this page is starting to use the keywords it wants to get found for, right? I can look at the headline, I can look at the images, I can look at that. But the other way, a little trick here, is I'm just going to do Control-U, and now I'm seeing the code underneath the page, right? I'm seeing the source code. And so what's kind of amazing me on this one is I'm not seeing much, because maybe the site wasn't built that way. Here's Toronto Wildlife Center here tonight too, I think. They do the same thing. And so now I'm looking at all the techie code under here, and I can sort of look for, to see if they've got their keywords in here. And if you know the find function, right, I can just do that and sort of look for keyword, see if they've got, or their, what's called their meta description. So which I'm not finding it here. So this is sort of getting into the geeky part, but it doesn't look like these sites have got the sort of, you know, sort of the basic nuts and bolts of getting found. So a lot of times we'll do this. Yeah?
Is it worth changing the architecture of your site to support things like URL directories? Like, for example, I've got a static page, and then for the subsections I just put jQuery expanding menus, so effectively it's a single page site, rather than having people click around too much. I mean, in a case like that, is it, like, would you suggest restructuring the site so that there are separate pages with separate URLs for SEO's sake? Or?
Yeah. I mean, ideally what you want to do, and we wrestle all the time with, you know, the good folks who do user experience and navigation, and when we get going with them, you know, I always say, look, again, I'm trying to use the words people use, and this is actually going to help our navigation of it. So a great way of doing that, you know, the one I've been using is Second Cup Coffee is a client of ours. So we were talking about this. If I set up the page, and this is sort of the effectician example, but if I was Second Cup Coffee and I said, okay, I want to get found for coffee, lattes, and tea. All right. So those are my three keywords I want. There's my home page, and here's my other pages down here. So I'm going to set this up, and this is going to be coffee. And this is going to be about, you know, fair trade coffee. And it's going to be about iced coffee. And it's going to be about how to make coffee. And it's going to be about how to store coffee. And then I'm going to go over to tea.
All separate pages.
All set, but you see the structure?
But within the structure.
Yeah, so now I'm going to do tea, I'm going to do green tea, I'm going to do chai tea, I'm going to do black tea, I'm going to do, right? And I do the same thing with latte. Now I'm Google, and I'm looking at this thing, and you said to me, boy, you're about tea, you're about coffee, and you're about latte. Look at all the pages there. Look at that rich stuff on coffee, right? That's a pretty authoritative site. Up you go, right? So that's a good way of doing it. So that's a good way of putting the architecture on.
Would, for example, using ID, oh God, what's the word? Elements, attributes, whatever. Would that work as a workaround? Like if you, so the expanding accordion menus for, you know what?
Yeah.
It's too arcane a question.
Okay.
I'll ask you privately.
That gets to the technical. I think I know what you're worried about. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So the other major thing I want to sort of talk about is, so the way to get a site found gets pretty easy, really. You know, Google algorithm is really tricky, and it is, and it changes every day. But sort of fundamentally comes down to this in a way, and this makes all the sense in the world. The Google is just trying to find, you know, they got a searcher out there looking for an authoritative site. About 25%, I'll adjust this, so I'll adjust this a little bit now. So about 25% of what Google values is what's on the page. Okay, so all those things I just told you, right? They're going to look at that. That's about 25% of their sort of factor in ranking a page for a certain search term. The other sort of new 5% is social media. Okay? But the other 70%, if my math is right, is other sites. In other words, and you'll hear about this, links, right? So how many people, and this makes sense, right? Because you could say, I'm about this. I could say, hey, Google, I'm about coffee and tea and all that. But if other people don't say that's what I'm about, right, then do you really value it? So what's most important is the number of links that you've got going to your site. Right?
So is that what you call backlinks?
Yeah.
So people linking to our site.
That's right. So even one little small thing you may notice on what you can do on your own site is link to yourself, internal links. That's a little small thing. But backlinks, yeah, people linking to you. Now here's the trick, and we'll notice as I worked at TechSoup, so we were talking, and I said, as we're talking, you know, he said, would you come down and talk? I said, be happy to. And I said, do you have a website? Yeah. You're going to put something about me on your website? I said, yeah. I said, all right, link. Okay, and I know this is a nice charitable organization. I know Google likes charitable organizations, so this is a good link. So also, would you mind calling me an internet marketing consultant? Okay, thank you, right? Because that's my keyword, right? So what matters as well is not just that you have any old link, but that link actually goes back to your targeted keywords. Right? So you can't always engineer that. If somebody gives you a link, you say, thank you very much. Appreciate that. But so you can't always engineer it that way, but you can try, right? So there are people, there's ethical and unethical people out there in the world of search engine optimization who will buy you, who will get you links. You know this, yeah? So we call the black hat and the white hat guys, and the gray hat somewhere, no? There's all sorts of different link building. Some people who will buy you links. You probably sometimes get approached by these, so be careful of it. But there are, I guess my point is, there are ethical people out there who do this. There's some people out there saying that Google just changed all this, and it's not necessarily true. They sort of got rid of some of the scamming on there. But there's people who actually go out there and legitimately will build you links. And you know, a lot of times it can come very sort of organically. Like it's sort of laborious work. It takes, you know, sometimes you got to go out and figure out all the people you know, contact them, send them stuff, maybe send them an article, ask them to link to a blog post. But it's good work, right? And it's something you should do steadily. So there are good firms out there that will link build for you. But you should also, as a marketer, always be cognizant of it as well. When you're working with people, when you're speaking to people, when you've got, the biggest thing is think about who you got, right? You know, the little guy I've been calling with is calling the financial planner, right? We work with him, and, you know, I said, do you belong to any organization? No, don't belong to any. Oh, you don't belong to the chamber? Oh yeah, well, the chamber. So can we get a link there? Right? Yeah. I said, what else did you do? Well, I donate to the hospital. Oh, big? Yeah, I donate for big. Well, there's another one, right? And all good links, right? And people that will do you a favor. Sorry, you were first then.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying about this, and I've been hearing this for years, and I just wanted to be clear, like when you talk about actually doing this linking up, can you be a little more specific? Like, in other words, if I you mean that on my blog, I would put your, you know, I put your name and then your
phrase,
your phrase, but would that be sufficient for you if it was on my blog that I would do that? Or is that
that'd be great. Thanks. I'll keep you to that.
Right.
But first, I'm going to check out how authoritative your blog is.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's fine. But what I'm just getting at is that just by doing that, does that mean that then
it's a vote.
that link now exists that would show up as well, like on this thing? I guess you're going to show us next, which shows probably all the links that you have or don't have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Would that work?
So not it
if you
doesn't
have an
have to be
authoritative site,
So it doesn't have to be a hyperlink.
So the more authoritative, the more important your site is in Google's eyes. And there's a little simple tool here too you can do that I might have to find this exactly before I had it online for so long. But right up here in the normal search box, you see up there, I'm just right up here.
What's that?
That's Google has this thing where they rank every site from 0 to 10. And it's called page rank, but it's not the rank sort of your page on a page, if you follow me. It's just a score they give. You know, it's like the Russian judge sitting over there holding up the things. So 0 to 10, 10 being Google themselves. Right? So anytime I want to see, so I could go to yours and I could check this one right here, and it has a 3. And anything above 2 is pretty good. And generally, you want to have somebody who's above you.
So what's the URL to do that?
Yeah, you can get this tool. I've got a bunch of them up here. Yeah, I think this is the Google extension, I think, one I've got, which is one of the best.
What's it called?
PageRank status. Well, I'll get you this one specifically, though. So this is, it's just an extension onto Google Chrome. It's pretty handy. It sits up there all the time. You can see I've got a couple of them I use up
Is
there.
that what you're using here, Chrome?
Yeah. Yeah, which is, to me, it's all the best because, because the search
So what's the
there, they got a lot of
extension?
tools.
I have Google Chrome. So what's the extension? What's it called?
I'll have to get back. I'll put it in the notes, okay? So
Oh, okay.
I won't take time to look it up now, but I'll look it up for you.
Okay.
I think it said it comes, if you know how to use Google Chrome extensions, it's from ChromeFans.org is the developer. And it's free. Free to. So how are we doing on time? Yep, time up?
10 to
So, yeah, did that answer your question? You get that?
Kind of, because I'm still, like, if I was giving direction, like, if I was gonna do this, build links for myself, and I was actually gonna be providing instructions to a person on the other end of the phone who probably, like, is in the same headspace that I'm in, I'm sort of wondering, like, how I'm actually explaining what I'm talking about, assuming, right, that not everyone who's having this conversation are experts, right? So it's more like, you know, so if I'm talking, maybe Peace Theater is, maybe they don't have an expert, but I would like to link to Peace Theater. They'd like to link to me, right? So how do we make sure that we are linked, even if we think we've done the right thing? Like, how do we actually know that we are? Is there some way of testing the link?
Well, I mean, it's simple as sort of, you know, you can put it in they can put it in a blog post, or, you know, they may have, you know, like you see a blog roll, right, of friends.
Well, do they have a blog?
No idea.
Right,
No.
so does that mean that we can't link then?
No, there are
It's
ways
sort of up to them.
We could share the link on the link on our site, then we pay back to you if that's helpful.
Yeah, sure.
It's just if you go to the homepage, it's textbookcanada.ca.
But when you say link, you mean hyperlink, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's as simple as it is, right? You know, it's
Yeah.
a hyperlink.
Yeah,
right?
so
Yeah.
if you scroll down a little bit.
So, by the way, I looked up there for good.
So we
There
should,
it
so we
is.
should go to them. We should get them to link us.
Is it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
we're-
so it's
There I
right
am.
there.
See? So that works. So I got another one. And it's like votes, right?
oh, okay, so that's hyperlinked to your site, then I'm
Yeah.
assuming that.
Yeah, and it's extra good because it does have one of my keyword phrases in there, right? Which is nice. So even if it didn't, it'd be good anyway, but it's still, if it says it, even better.
Is there a way I can find out who has linked to our site?
Yeah, there's a couple of tools. The one I have sort of built within here. That called Majestic. In this, I think it's this one's free as well if you get the whole. Yeah. Majestic-SEO, and you can see there's a variety of things here where they can actually you can actually start to see what you're seeing here is the number of links in terms of a graph. Because also what Google wants you to see is the fact that you're keeping building links. And there's Google. Quoted themselves, general webmasters can improve the rank of their sites by increasing the number of high-quality sites that link to their pages. There it is. There's Mr. Google's language.
So we should do, so for example, okay, we benefited from the services of TechSoup, thank you very much. So how would, we should get them to link to us and vice versa, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If it's the way generally you want to keep it's like a bucket, right? If I'm linking out to more people than they're linking into me, Google's going to look at that and go, boy, you know, you're not that authoritative. You want more people linking into you. But when you're equals, right, it's a good thing, and that's sort of that's a link exchange. So I have people who write me a lot, right, and I have friends and bloggers I've met and people like that, and we're both around the same spot, and they sort of look at me and go, hey, do you want to exchange links? I go, sure. Right? And I might write a little piece on them. And you know, a lot of times, again, while these are sort of little tricks, they're also, to me, at the heart of it, you can do it sort of really the right ethical way, right? Because these are friends that, and I have people who try to link to me, and I go, God, no, right? But then I have other people I've met, and we just enjoy each other. I find they've got a valid opinion. So I'm writing a blog post, you know, I'll link to them. Sometimes I'll just link out to them if I want, you know, and they'll write me back and say, hey, thanks, right? And I said, yeah, would you mind returning the favor? Hey, no problem, right? So.
But links mentioned on social media aren't part of this 70%.
It's a 5% now. So, so a new sort of part of this is because social is just another authority, right? So now that if there's a lot of people talking about you on social and it's really sort of up to speed, right? Really fresh news and people are talking about you, then Google's starting to account that. And it's kind of funny because it's very sort of, we're talking about how you can get ranked for news items, right? but it's very sort of, it's there and then it's gone a bit for a day, so the social links don't always last as long because the social streams just moving like crazy, right? So, but yeah, we tried this out. I could take a phrase like, texting, Canada, Toronto, and, really sort of a specific phrase. If I went right now and did a tweet on that, and I'll ask you to retweet that, if we went to Google right after, we'd see it ranked right up there. But it would only be up there for like 12 hours. So, but over time, the more that happens, and the more people are actually, so a lot of times we're tweeting away and we're talking to bloggers and we're trying to get our sort of fame out there. But again, if we're thinking about our keywords and actually people are talking about us that way, so I'll put my keywords in there as well. So that's probably all we have time for tonight. But I'll just, I'm going to go real quick here, just tell you the other ones, because some people might be down in sort of advanced ways, right? These sort of go more into, now we're going to move a little bit closer into site design, right? So coming from the outside, coming back into actually web development. So, the 8-second rule is basically how much you bounce. This is my dog, who works like hunters, like searchers do, and then she just wants to find the information really quickly, so she's got that big nose, she comes looking for the thing. If she doesn't find it, she bounces, right? So what's important is that people don't bounce from your site, and if you're matching it up with intent, right, then Google's going to see that's great. This is an SEO company, but I just think I have yet to find a better example of somebody who does it so well. What does that mean? If I'm looking for SEO software, that's what this site says. It's got bam, and it's got all sorts of sticky stuff and great stuff, and so they've got a very low bounce rate. Back to the thing, does the content match the intent? Now, does the actual thing said on the page, and you saw in that example it did, does it actually match it? So down to, one of the best examples is people say about us, right? That only ranks you for about us, right? If you said something else about that, about what you particularly are, about that sort of organization, right? About, so we have a client who's in avionics at West, and Maxcraft Avionics, right? So we're redoing the segment, it's going to say about Maxcraft Avionics. Because now that'll help us rank because that matches the intent. Because people are looking for avionics. Yeah, we use this one, a real live one. I'll give a real example. If I'm looking for solar stuff for my house, residential solar, I come to this site. This is actually a really good sort of way of looking at it, this quick. If I come to this site and I'm looking for residential solar, got it, right? The content matches the intent. Now I'm going to look for this. So this is actually, these guys provide physiotherapy. Right. Anybody getting it yet?
No.
Right? 5, 6, 7, 8, we bounce after 8 seconds, gone. That didn't work. Then the other important part, let's get more down into site design, is clicking and buying. Even if you're an organization, a charity organization, you want me to take an action. And is that clear on your site? Right? It is not on this site. So I don't know where the heck they want me to go here. So versus this charitable example, which I think is a great one because they don't say buy, they say get involved. We were actually doing one with these guys, and I said, look, you want me to just leave your site and not do anything? No. What do you want me to do? I want you to get involved. Hey, there we go. Right? So it's a great, but it's very clear what you want me to do. And people want to know, they're spending a fraction of time. They want to know what to do on your site. You have to help them where to go. So I don't know, you probably can't see these, but you get maybe the idea. The amazing part of this is you can test stuff, and something, I could show you these two and you would swear they're identical, right? You go, my gosh, they would seem to be performing, but one would perform double what the other one would. And it all comes down to the little phrase you use, right? And this is optimization, right? So you can test them one against the other, constantly testing to see how your site's performing, right? And so, one of these, we look at these and we play this game all the time. There's a great little site newsletter. If you want to see this in action, it's a blast to play. We play it at work all the time. It's called Which Test Won. And they take real live examples of website design, and you have to pick. You know it? So anybody else know it? It's great fun. We bet on it. We got pools going on it, and just like, you know, you swear, and like you're looking at this thing going, I can't see the difference. Yet one got, you know, 2 times as many customers as the other one did. Right?
What's it called?
Which test won?
Which test?
Yeah, so they'd actually show you. But then this is one right from it. So, and then this part, this notion real quickly is, do the chapters match? So you're telling me a story all the way from the search all the way down to the site. You're going to tell me a story, right? And so the chapters sort of have to match that story as I go down further and further on your page, right? Or on your site, I should say. So it's like reading, you know, if you ever tried to read a book and the book really had you at the beginning and somehow you just lost your way because the narrative somehow just drifted and you got less interested. And a site that doesn't have a good sort of flow that way, to keep telling its story, its great story, right, you know, of what you guys do and what a cool story, what you do. You got to tell that all the way through, all the way down to, you know, they're looking for the map to find you, right? So, you know, so you got to have all those sort of chapters, otherwise it's like a book with mismatching chapters. And then trust is really important on a site. Authority. We call these FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So the biggest killer of sort of action on your site is that people don't trust you. So things like this, right? Little authority signs, symbols. They don't need to be big and prominent. Reviews. These are all things you can use to get people to trust you and stick on your site. And everybody's usually got these in some form. How deep is the content? Blogs. I heard a lot of people talk about blogs. Blogs are great because they provide deep content. It's not a 5-page site. Now, if you're doing a blog post a week, after a year, you got 52 pages. It's fresh content, deep content. That's important. Now, videos, very powerful in boosting conversion. They tell a story a great way. You're far more likely to get ranked for a video. If you just have a text page, a page with a video on it is 55 times more likely to get ranked.
Does it have to be your own video, or if you were having a YouTube video?
Yeah, it's your own. Couldn't be somebody else's video. If you've optimized it for your keywords. And lastly, on social media, last part on the site is it sticky? So this is sort of gets now transferring all the way through the found part of the funnel over to the fan part of it. I've gone all this. I've done all this. Was it sticky? I enjoyed it, and maybe I'm not ready to buy or contribute or do anything with it, but I liked you. So why don't you make it sticky? Ask for my email, encourage me to follow you on Facebook. I think one of the biggest problems people make on these, if you ever look at it, you'll always see follow us on Facebook on the home page. It's really kind of bizarre when you think about it. It should be on the exit page, right? Because I'm not ready to follow you. I just got to know you, right? So I'm not saying it should be on the home page, but I'll make sure it's on the other ones as well. So just get it sticky.
Page into your site.
Yeah, I think so. And share. Let people share your pages. People do want to share. People are really getting into this now. If they see a good blog post, I'm like, you should have all the sharing tools there. Little plugins you can do for that. So you get a feel for that's how we rank a site. We haven't had anybody rank 11 out of 11 yet. So, and it's amazing. I was saying, it's pretty big sites that pretty well-known brands. Got some of the lowest scores we've had. So. But it's all opportunities just to, and if you're not doing, the first step, then that's great. You've already boosted your performance just by doing step number 1. And just 10 more to go. All right, does that help? Okay.